Brother Rafik or Sheikh Rafik, I should say.
أهلا
وسهلا.
That is a high level.
Now, you were born in...
أستاذ
أنا
أذان.
حياك الله. You were born in 1940.
Yes, sir.
You were nearly around 19 years old or 20 years old when you first encountered Islam, right?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Around,
Through
you told me...
Muslims. Not from books, but...
You saw Muslims. Where was that?
I met Muslims in Cape Town.
Cape Town.
South Africa. I emigrated to Cape Town, to South Africa, and then because I was actually involved in the anti-apartheid student movement, I got involved with that. So there I also met what they call their colored people. You have the white and black and colored.
Yes.
Mixed origin. So amongst the colored people, there were quite some Muslims also.
Malays,
mostly
Malaysian
Malay
origin.
They say Malay origin, but actually they were revolutionaries against the WC in Indonesia.
Indonesia, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But it's the same language, more or less.
Same people, yes. They speak Malay. They speak Malay.
Yeah.
Malay.
Yeah.
They call it Bahasa Malay.
Malaya.
Bahasa Malayo.
Aywa.
But it took you some time before you became a Muslim.
Yes. And they didn't invite me directly. They were just nice people. I liked the way they, in the family, with some of the marriage parties and that sort of things. And the way I liked the way they behaved and so on. They were very cool.
So when did you decide to become a Muslim? What happened?
That is the crucial point was in 69. So now this old acquaintance of me, acquaintance, is a piano player, composer from mixed origin, from Cape Town. We had been together. I helped him to get out there because he didn't have the right opportunities in South Africa.
Were you yourself a musician?
I was just an amateur, flugelhorn.
But he was?
Trumpet. He's a great musician. So he didn't have the opportunity. So I helped to organize some concerts for him in a group. And then later on I went overland and joined them in Europe. They were in Switzerland, they went to Denmark, Sweden. At that time in Holland, they said, I tried to. Actually, I was not supposed to be in Netherlands because I was supposed to stay away until 30 from the military. Military.
That's why you went to South Africa?
Yes, that's why I emigrated.
You didn't want to serve in the army?
So because I'm a war child. Enough. So anyway, we got here and then he had been to the United States one time. Duke Ellington, a well-known band leader, an Afro-American. So he came to the club after the concert in Zurich in Switzerland, and he took them, the leader and the group, and the singer, later became his wife, to Paris next day and make some recordings. And then he took him to New York. So in New York, this Dollebrand, it became later Abdullah Ibrahim.
He became a Muslim?
He became a Muslim because he met quite a few Afro-American musicians had become Muslim. At that time they were becoming Muslim. Ahmed Jamal is one of the first, Sahib Shihab, even the drummer of Coltrane, Rashid Ali, all these are well-known people to us. They had become Muslim. So he was remembering that in Cape Town, Christians and Muslims, especially the mixed area, the colored people, they are quite naturally, the way they associate, quite no trouble there. There was no tension or something like that. So he remembered that, and then he remembered certain things, certain aspects of Islam, practical things, the fasting, praying, and so on. So then he became Muslim. And then I met him after he had become a Muslim he came back to Switzerland, in Zurich, and we met again. And that must have been about after my first wife died. I was in a sort of little crisis, little bit. And he told me, I said, well, one of the things, I said, before I went, because that year before I went to Morocco, it's the hippie time. He went to the States. So I borrowed a little booklet from him that was with prayer, dua. So it has one side the Arabic and one side the English. So I said, this little book is yours. You don't touch it. I said, what? No, you don't touch the Quran, you know. You have become very strict. At the time there was no Salafi or something. He was Sufi, but very strict. So I said, what's the matter? He said, no, you are not pure. Pure, I'm your friend. What is happening? And he was always drinking, because he was frustrated as a musician. He didn't.
That was before he became a Muslim.
And then he started drinking. Then he doesn't come to the appointment. He comes late, he makes a lot of trouble. So I used to tell him, Abdullah, why don't you stop this drinking business? It's creating trouble for other people, for yourself and other people also. Oh, he said, shut up and this and that. And then, so then he stopped drinking, he stopped smoking hashish, and also stopped womanizing. The singer he used to be with the group, he married her. Was his girlfriend, but he married her.
And she became a Muslim too?
She became Muslim. Muslimah. But
so he asked you to go and purify yourself.
Yeah. So he said, and he was also praying and so on, reading Quran and this and that. And he told me one thing I never forget. He said, Rolf, that's my original name. He said, we used to believe in God somehow. In Africa, if you talk to people, especially the non-white, all of them are believers. Who doesn't believe in God? They all believe in God. So he said, we used to believe, but it's not that if you believe in the one and only, then once a year, New Year's Eve, or like some Christians, they go to church once a year, or once a week, or even once a week also not. It's not enough. Once a day also not. Is if you're really a believer, then you should just everything you do should be an expression of your praising and thanksgiving. Shukr wa hamd.
Yeah.
That is the thing. I start thinking, this man who used to be drinking and making trouble and women and everything, because that time jazz music was in the clubs.
Yes.
So he said, he stopped. So I'm going to stop this club business, just do concerts and studio work. I said, this is my work. This music is my work, and I can reach people, I can make them happy. So I'm continue to do that, but not in the club anymore. So that is, I started thinking, and I was also in this crisis, and so at that time, actually, I was at the point of.
Really?
Yeah.
Because your wife died?
Yeah, my first wife is Danish, and very sweet. We had been together in Africa and so on, together, very nice. And then she had a breast cancer.
Oh.
And when we were living in Zurich, in Switzerland, with the musicians, so then we went back to Denmark, and the doctor, gave the wrong,
diagnosis.
Yeah. He says, oh, don't worry. She had some knobbles in the breast. So he said, don't worry. Many women, they have that. After half a year, it had gone.
Spread.
Yeah. So it's too late. So they took her breast and they put some rays.
She died young, huh?
Yeah, died young. I said, we don't know. We're not going to talk about how it's going to end, because we know it's dangerous, but we just go to Africa. Because I know in Africa, people are very positive. People are, the way I have experienced Africa, the people are, mashallah, friendly and hospitable, and they are not too serious, but I like the culture.
They take it easy.
Take it easy. With the music.
So now your friend has become a Muslim.
Yeah.
You were in a crisis.
Yeah.
So probably that worked together to make you decide to become a Muslim?
Yes. Yes.
When you converted to Islam, where were you?
Well, I was
here in the Netherlands.
I had been to Morocco as more as hippie life, and then I'd come back. I was in Spain and in Zurich, and then Switzerland. And then I went back to Denmark, but there was not that I knew any Muslims or mosque.
That was in the
68.
68. Yeah.
Then I went to Holland, and actually it was illegal because I should stay there until my 30th. But I had a passport and never asked me, and nobody bothered me. So I remember that in Amsterdam there's a sort of a there's a tropical museum that used to be in the colonial times, And they had what they call this gamelan. In Java, you have the big instrument, all this, boom, boom. That is a gamelan, that's Javanese culture. And they have a set in the museum, but they also had a set, and a working set in the administrators. And they have a group there. Every week they meet to practice. And I was just as an amateur musician, that is beautiful. I joined them. So most others were Indonesian youngsters, I don't know, students, whatever they were. And I asked them, that is in Amsterdam. At that time, 69. So I asked them, isn't there no mosque here? No. Only tea house, Turkish and Moroccan tea, coffee house. And, or imam? No. They didn't know about it. They said the only place that time was The Hague. There's Ahmadiyya. The Ahmadiyya were the first ones. That invoking in England, same thing, was Ahmadiyya first. And in Denmark also, I found out later on, the first mosque was Ahmadiyya. And in Zurich, the place I had been, that was all Ahmadiyya. So I went there. That must have been in that time, in 68, 69. And I just went there and I said, okay, I'm interested. Check the Quran. They had a translation of Quran. And then they talk about the prayer. And so Hajj, they can't go to Hajj and this thing. But I went to them and they had a Pakistani who were sort of Dai for Ahmadiyya. But they were very clever and very positive. And so I said, okay, I'm ready. So what do you think of a name? I said, okay, then one time, later on, I woke up, sort of half awake, and the name came to me from Kiswahili, Rafiki. Swahili is a mixed language, mixed culture, many Arabic words. So they always address you as my comrade. Rafik is comrade, you know it.
Yes.
Rafiki is my comrade.
Yes.
So I said, they told me, no, it should not be Rafiki, it should be Rafik Ahmad.
Because of Ahmadiyya.
Exactly. So I didn't know anything about Aqidah or about Ahmed Muhammad. I didn't know anything about Islam, theoretically.
You thought they were Muslims?
Yeah, of course. They're propagating Islam. They've translated the Quran. They're praying 5 times a day, or more or less, I don't know. But they're practicing the prayer, the salat. So I have no reason to suspect them until the introduction. They made a translation of Quran, introduction about a couple 100 pages. So the history of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad and his ideas about the Messiah, the Mahdi and the Messiah. And then, but actually, later on I found out Muhammad Ali, who also translated, he was the scholar of the alim of that group. And he said, no, Mirza Muhammad never claimed that he was the Messiah or that's his son, grandson. They did that thing. So anyway, whatever, I don't know, at that time I didn't know anything. And then I remember I took the translation with me. I went to Morocco. I said, well, because I couldn't stay in Holland. And that was the nearest country, Muslim country, and I had been there before. So I went to Morocco, and went to Fez, and they had an institute. They had some classes for non-Arabs. The Karouin is a university, but it's pre-academic. They have a Mahad, Mahad Islami. What do they call it again?
معهد القرويين.
Karouin. Mahad Karouin. I went there, I went to the director, and I said, I would like to study here. Is it possible? Oh no. I said, I'm here. When I met at the camping, because we had a little car, and I had an English girlfriend, and we were at the camping, and then I met some of these Americans or some Peace Corps workers or something, and they said, the teacher, he said, you can just go there and teach English at the Mahad. So I went to the director. The director said, you know what? You go to the ministry in the Rabat and you ask them, get a letter from them.
To apply for a job.
Yeah, we give you a little job for teaching and we give you a little place to stay with the dormitory and you eat with the student leader. Every class, they got the class head, you eat with them and so on. We arranged that. So I went to... So actually that time, later on, I thought better I'm serious about Islam. This was 1970. And I told also my girlfriend that, listen, I'm not going to force you to become a Muslim, but at least we should marry. And that was too much for her. She was from the hippie. Hippies, the hippie are free.
Yes.
They want to stay free, you know.
No constraints.
Yeah. So she said, okay, here's your money for the ticket. And she went back to England.
Oh, no, because she didn't want to marry you.
No, because she felt too much pressure. Although I told her, don't force you to become, not going to force you to become Muslim. It's your own decision.
Is that where you became a Muslim? In Al-Qarawiyyin?
Officially.
Oh.
Because before I was at Ahmadiyya, but that is, I mean, it's not it's a false...
It was then that you understood what Ahmadiyya was?
Yeah. Later, I started to understand. And when I was in West Africa, from Morocco, I went across Sahara to West Africa. And then in Sierra Leone, I was teaching small children. And there was, in that village, there was also a doctor, a post, they had a post there from Ahmadiyya.
Oh, all the way?
Yeah, everywhere the English at their colonies, the Ahmadiyya went with them.
They encouraged them?
Of course. Split up. That's their specialty.
Yeah,
the English. So then I check, and I see every time when it's time for Dars, like after Asr or Maghrib, you know, then they start talking about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. I said, well, I've become a Muslim and don't know anything about Islam and the Prophet and so on. That's the first one I know is that the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So that is the first one I should know more about, not about Mirza Muhammad come so many centuries later. That's why I started to realize that this is different.
So how did you start the process of learning about Islam?
Yeah, it was a slow process, but actually the real started, of course, with starting this too in Ahmadiyya, checked the translation. That was just to have an idea what it's about. But then when I decided to go to Morocco, I decided to go study there Islam.
Oh.
Yeah.
At Al-Qarawiyyin?
Yeah.
How long did you stay there?
Al-Qarawiyyin, I just stayed there. I came just 1st of Ramadan, 1970. So started fasting there, mashallah. Then entered Morocco and this first day of Ramadan, alhamdulillah. And then also first I'd been before as hippie, I used to fast. These people, they mix with they just guides, mix with the tourists and the hippies and so on. They were youngsters, Moroccan, but they were fasting. But somehow fasting, but not really. And but I was with them, fasting with them. Not just to be solitary with them, you know. But they said, no, but breaking fast, there was no prayer, there was nothing, Quran, whatever. You know, it was just a
just
habit,
abstention
custom,
from the food.
Custom. So so later on, when I sent my girlfriend, so I started studying there. So then of course, I was already had started praying, and then we start with the ba bi boo ba bi bi boo bi.
Learning Arabic.
Yeah, studying Arabic. But alhamdulillah, I met somebody who was a teacher, a school teacher in the primary school, and he helped me a lot because that time, you know, of course, Morocco had been under French rule, so my French not that strong, but English was strong. I had studied already in South Africa, studied English. So this brother, teacher, he knew some English, and he had a little booklet about Babi Boobi and so on. You know, so I just started listening things like that. And then at Mahat Karouin, they started just the basic lessons in the fiqh and so on. A little bit fiqh, a little bit sirah, and this and that, tafsir. So
how long did you stay there for?
I only stayed because I came there before. In Ramadan it was autumn, and by the time summer, I had a break, and then I went to some of the students who came from Sierra Leone, Liberia. I went to visit them.
Oh.
And then I wrote to the treasurer of that Mahat. I said, I'm here now, but can you send what I was getting?
Your salary.
Salary, you know, salary. Maybe it was 60 or 70 dirham in the month. It's just a pocket money.
Yeah.
But they never sent it. So then I got a letter. We're still in contact with my old friend from Cape Town, who was getting now famous, not famous, but well known as a musician who had gone back to South Africa. And then there's a little country, protected, used to be British protected, Swaziland.
Swaziland.
Yeah, so he told me, come here, Swaziland, I need you for the administration. I want to start an African art school with music and so on. But he never sent a ticket. I was in Sierra Leone, so how did I get to?
So how did you go?
So I went from Sierra Leone to Liberia, every port, Ivory Coast.
By ship?
I went, ship, I have to work on the ship. How else can I go there? So in the Ivory Coast, I met, there was a German ship, and the captain told me, if you can get the visa we are only going to, because these ships were boycotted at the time. All the ships are going to South Africa, they're boycotted in West Africa because of the apartheid. So he said, if you can get a visa for Central Africa, Cameroon or something, then I will take you. Because we are going back from what used to be French Congo, we are going back to Hamburg. So I said, no, this is November. I don't want to go back to Hamburg now. This is winter. You know, I don't want to go. So anyway, we get to this place. I somehow met somebody who knew somebody at the French embassy. They issued visa for Central African Republic.
Oh, they were in charge.
They're in charge. This is just after independence.
Oh.
And this is 1971. So, so he gave me. So we come to the port, and this immigration. He looked at me. Yes, you got a visa from French? And yes, of course, the French, they've been fighting the French to get independent. You get a visa for France. We don't recognize that. So I went on with them to Congo, former French Congo. So I said, okay, if it's my... I asked just to the port for leaving my passport at the port. I just go to town there, find out. Maybe some Muslims there. There were Muslims from Mali. Can you imagine? Mali is inside landlocked. And they were in the former French Congo. We had a mosque in there.
Oh, subhanAllah. They were laborers, maybe.
Maybe they told me the fishermen, but the fishermen were in Mali. I don't know. But anyway, so they knew somebody from the Portuguese who was against the colonials. And he was there and he knew the governor. The captain told me the governor of that city, Point Noir, French point. Point Noir is a black point in French. So he said, that man is the worst communist in Africa. He will never help you. So I said, let me go speak to him, you know. This was Portuguese he gave me. He's a friend of that governor. So I went to the governor, a very nice person. We sat a nice talk for about 1 hour. He's very interested in Dutch who become Muslim and so on. So he just sent me to that army place. Said, you go there, they will take you to the border. So I went there and the next day he gave me a poem. Says, when the next group is going to the border, that is, the trouble there, that you have Cabinda. It is on the north side of the river. And there's no bridge or ferry or something there. It's like a miles, wide, big river, the Congo.
How are you going to go swim?
Yeah, exactly. So he says, I'll take you to border of Cabinda. And somehow some old friends or my parents, I don't remember, I got little money for the plane from Cabinda to go to Angola, to the capital of Angola. So I went there and the men took me there to the border, and the others just told me, oh, they are in war. Cabinda is in war with the Congo, French former. I said, okay, let me. The people talk about war, but sometimes it's nothing. I went there and I found that the people work on the border from Cabinda and at the Congo, they are playing soccer together. They're supposed to be at war, It's nonsense. It's just the same tribe, but just the politics.
The politics, yeah.
They make the trouble, They set people up against each other. So anyway, I went there and then to the border, and the next time somebody took me to the airport, and I just jumped to that and go. So this took some time. So by the time I got to Swaziland, through Namibia, that time that was a Bantustan, Ovamboland. So at the border, the Boeren, they told me, no, that is only for blacks, you can't go there as a white. As European. And I said, look, don't tell me nonsense, I'm a Muslim. I got no trouble, I got no business with European or African. So I talked to them, then they took me to Windhoek, from there to Botswana. I had been there before, in Botswana with my first wife, and I knew a doctor there who was studied in Ireland, and his wife was Catholic, and he had, I don't know, anyway, he don't know so. And I went through the time also in Angola. I went to the South African consulate, and I talked to the consul, talked very nice Afrikaans. Can you help us? Help me? And so I talked to him in Afrikaans, his language. So he never looked, he never checked the time, because before, when I was in Botswana, the second time I'd been to Africa, they put me on the blacklist. The South African blacklist, because I was a student demonstration against apartheid. So that was, he just gave me the stamp. He's very nice. He said, okay, go ahead. the visa. And then I went through Botswana and through Republic, South Africa to Swaziland.
So you arrived in Swaziland eventually.
3 months. And that time he was gone. My friend was gone back to New York because the sponsors, there were some sponsors, American sponsors, through the consulate, they had withdrawn or something, I don't know. So, but he was actually waiting for me to help with the application, administration. So, but it took too long. So
he left for America.
New York.
Okay, now we will stop here and continue to hear your story in the next episode, if you don't mind. You don't mind? We'll have another episode.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.